Hi everyone, this is Gaurav and we are starting up with this business track. I have Sonal with me and she's going to speak about the power of age, delivering PWA, CDN and security for Magento. She's from Webscale and she will introduce further and over to you, Sonal.
Thank you, Gaurav. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Sonal Puri. I'm sure we have interacted in some way, shape, or form, either as partners or met at Meet Magento in past years, or you guys have heard of us, and I've definitely heard of most of the companies that are attending or sponsoring. So really appreciate you all taking the time to attend the session. So what I want to talk about, mostly, or the content that we've put together is, you may have seen some of the announcements that have come out of Webscale and the work that we've been doing in the Magento ecosystem. Close to 1,000 stores currently on Webscale, more than 4,000 applications in total, if you see the kinds of stores and applications that we're delivering. And the way that we've sort of built the business, it's been very strongly focused on Magento and all of the challenges and benefits that Magento brings to the table. So what I wanted to do was to share with you all some recent services that we've announced. We announced Cloud Edge Security in about 6 or 7 months ago. We announced Cloud Edge CDN earlier in January, and then we just announced Cloud Edge PWA yesterday or today. I'm kind of losing track of time, I think today. Hopefully you all have seen the announcement. Hopefully you all have seen it come through the wire. And what I'd love to talk about is not really Webscale Cloud Edge CDN or Webscale services, but more why we think the edge is so critical in the delivery of Magento and the security of Magento and the scale and all of the interesting things that we're seeing now on the PWA front. So let me share with you all my slides, just a way to sort of keep us on track. I wish it was more sort of interactive and you all could just ask me questions easily and we could take it from there, but we'll just do the slides and then we have a Q&A towards the end as well. So I'm going to try and breeze through this. The power of the edge and delivering, progressive web applications, delivering all of these over an edge CDN, where we actually are pushing compute out to the edge, and edge security, because we all know the security challenges that we encounter on a pretty regular basis. So we're focusing the presentation today, even though Webscale is sort of PWA framework agnostic, we are platform agnostic, and we are cloud agnostic as well. We focus today's presentation on the Magento ecosystem. Like I shared with you all, we deliver more than 1,000 stores on the Magento platform across 1.x, 2.x, a lot of community and enterprise. We've been part of this world for about 8 years now and had some really interesting experience. Like I shared, I'm the CEO of Webscale. I'm also the chair of the diversity committee. Really enjoying being, behind the scenes and getting to contribute in some small way on how we do things on the community side. So, won't get into too much around the agenda, but growth has been great. Core web vitals are really painful. Merchants are going down this PWA journey. I'd say about 10% of our merchant universe is either in the process or already there. Security is always front and center, and then using the Cloud Edge, and that's the Webscale brand, to enable all these capabilities for merchants and get them closer to your users so that it impacts positively core web vitals. Obviously, that's why we're going the PWA route and security, which we all love to talk about. So overall, e-commerce is doing really well. So I think it's an industry we're all very fortunate to be a part of it. Mobile is critical to the success of e-commerce. Now, there's an interesting thing there that there's a lot of consumers that are on mobile devices, that are browsing on mobile devices, but the sale itself usually seems to be in higher numbers on desktop. So that's an interesting area where we have to find a way to make the mobile experience more reliable, fast, high performing, and we need to make it easier for our merchants to be found on mobile devices. And for that, as we all know, PWA is critical, and we believe security and CDN to deliver PWA is critical. So the edge, in essence, is essential. Across security, as we all know, security has a pretty big impact on SEO. SEO has a big impact on, well, Core Web Vitals has a big impact on SEO, and that really impacts revenue directly. We believe in the cloud extensively. We think that the cloud is the right place for commerce. Downtime is never acceptable, and performance is front and center for each and every one of us. So Core Web Vitals, right? What is that? That's Google's way of measuring customer experience on our sites, on our merchant sites. If they don't like the way our sites perform, they don't send search results our way. And it's the automation and the algorithms that define Google and its search. So 80% of the world's websites are not happy in Google's eyes. They don't deliver on Core Web Vitals, and that impacts these 80% of sites and their search results. On e-commerce, I don't have to give you all these metrics, but there's serious loss of revenue if our sites are slow. There's fewer page views, there's higher dissatisfaction, and all of us are consumers as well. So we know we don't stick around on the site if we can't really make a fast buying decision. So what do we hear from our developer partners? Now, the one thing that's really great about Webscale is, most of our customer relationships, our merchant relationships, starts with one of our partners. And they share their feedback with us pretty openly. They're very candid, which we love. And I'd encourage each and every one of you is, if you work with us, please tell us how you feel and what's front and center, because our product delivery and our focus as a company has been very, very customer centric. And sometimes our customer is the developer that's serving the customer. In fact, most of the time, in-house developer or agency like one of us attending these sessions. What they're demanding is web performance, because their merchants are telling them Core Web Vitals are critical. Their merchants are telling them, make my site fast, make it affordable, make it highly available, it can never go down. Give me flexibility so I can make acquisitions, I can grow, I can have, marketing success. And then there's the whole process of using technology to be more innovative, to be more flexible, to be more sort of front and center, use DevOps, use the cloud, and so on and so forth. So that these are the things that our developers are demanding of us, because their merchants are demanding of them certain business requirements that they have to deliver on. So, few things, PWA is front and center. Our developers are demanding of us a great way to deliver PWA. And why do they want to deliver PWA? Because it's faster performance. And why does it matter? Because more conversions, more sales, better search results, everybody's happy. And what are developers demanding in terms of the PWA journey? They want a reliable shopping experience. They want to be able to create this out-of-the-box compatibility with Magento. They want to have faster SEO, faster sites, better Core Web Vitals, improvement on the SEO front. That comes through not just the use of CDN. So you can't just turn on a CDN and say, all of a sudden my site's just going to be fast and I'm going to have good Core Web Vitals. It's much more than that. Image optimization plays a pretty big part, especially at the edge, to make sure that site performance and Core Web Vitals are front and center and do what they have to do. There's a lot of work even on the code side that needs to be performed to make sure these sites are successful. And then the developers are demanding that, hey, if I'm doing all of this work and I'm building this PWA site and I have this framework that I like to modify based on my merchant's requirements, I want a faster workload. I want better automation. I want, CI/CD. I want zero downtime. I want all the logging and event viewing and traffic viewing and so on. I want the tools to be successful. So that's what we hear from our partners as they work towards success. Really quick thing over here, we published the State of E-commerce Security Report. I'd ask you all to go read up on what our merchants and the broader merchant universe shares with us on what's important for them. Attacks are way up, security incidents are way up. I think we read it every day in the newspapers. We see it on, it's not just Magento, it's not just our merchants, it's actually attacks are up across the board. We know some specific kinds of attacks that impact the Magento ecosystem. So, a lot of things need to be done to make sure that these customers and these merchants are secure. I would encourage you to review this e-commerce report. It's free. So what do we recommend? So when we say take your Magento store off the internet, we don't mean go out of business. We don't mean don't sell. we actually mean don't make it accessible to the public internet. Meet these attackers at the edge and stop them right there. Make sure that they don't come all the way to your origin. They don't go to your backend. They don't see your credit cards. They don't, mess around with your admin system. And that's our goal, to put security at the edge, right where the user is. So they don't even get into the network to be able to, to cause harm. So that's what we mean when we say take your Magento store off the internet. I'm sure I got your attention with that slide. So modernizing Magento security, at least what Webscale's done over time, as we've learned about the problems and as the world has gotten smarter and the bad people in the world have gotten smarter. So, in the olden days when we were all young, there was the Magento application, and you put a nice firewall in front of it and things were fine. And then the Magento application got slow. So you put a CDN in front of that, and between the firewall and the CDN, things were fine. And then we started to see some more security incidents, not just at the front end, but at the back end as well. And that's when we started to push the CDN and the security out to the edge, just because we believe that the back end has to be protected as well. So things like, making sure that the files there's integrity in the file. So there's a service called file integrity monitoring. There's CSP alerting and protection, and not just monitoring, but actually acting on any CSP violations, and other such features. So the Webscale control plane now manages the backend and the front end as well, and make sure that security is not just plain vanilla firewall. That's a necessity, but it's a little bit more than that. And now we're finding that the world is moving towards front end, and they want to have headless deployments. They want to have a PWA front end, extending the security to that, because obviously when you have a PWA front end, the entire application needs to be delivered in secure mode. We've been doing that right from the beginning, but it becomes more necessary to protect the APIs and the other connectivity with the backend. So we play a pretty strong role in that, and we've modernized Magento security ahead of demand. Let's talk about Cloud Edge for a second. What it essentially means is the ability to execute code at the edge. Now, whether that code is blocking carding attacks, or that code is delivering the right image to the right device, or that code is helping sort of a PWA deployment either through container or just at the edge in a serverless environment to the end user. Those are the kinds of use cases that we're now able to open up to our developer partners. You as a developer can actually go into the edge and execute services and execute code that you may want executed at the edge closer to your user. It gives you a lot of power by doing that. Most of our partners don't necessarily want to do that. They want a toolkit where, like I gave a couple of examples of blocking carding attacks or managing images or delivering PWA and using the edge for that. Those are pre-deployed on the platform, and we welcome everybody to come ahead and use that and minimize latency. Most of that traffic doesn't go back to the origin because it's all delivered from the edge and delivered as a PWA ideally. So the origin infrastructure really gets streamlined. We save on bandwidth, obviously origin bandwidth, and there's not a lot of operational overhead. So if you could take your original infrastructure and shrink it by 1/3, that's a lot of money saving. That's actually pretty great for the planet as well, if you want to think about it that way. But it's a pretty interesting way to do this. And it's commerce friendly because of the way that commerce works, and specifically the way that applications like Magento work. It really helps to optimize the front end and reduce that request and improve the browsing experience. So quickly stepping back, talking about the overall Cloud Edge platform. So we launched Cloud Edge Security about 6 months ago because we believe security is critical and the most important function that we can deploy at the edge of the cloud. And obviously a lot of features there. We launched Cloud Edge CDN January 15th, I believe. Out of the box with image management, it helps to have Core Web Vitals jump by about 30 points. I'd strongly recommend everybody get on a CDN that can really help you do that with image management if it's not Webscale. There are some other CDNs that allow for image management along with the CDN. They're definitely better for deployments than just a plain vanilla CDN. It doesn't cut it in commerce anymore. And with Webscale, you kind of get security and CDN and the access for like an out-of-the-box delivery platform for PWA. So what we do in the Cloud Edge PWA sort of delivery platform is whatever framework you choose, whether it's an open source, whether you're using call it Magento PWA Studio, or you're using Vue Storefront, or you have your own open source platform that you're going, or you're buying a license, full stack PWA solution that's built for your specific vertical on any cloud provider. We mostly serve the 3 largest clouds, and it works with any platform and any backend. We actually have real use cases deployed. In fact, we work with Magento Cloud with Magento PWA Studio, and we add, Cloud Edge security in front of it. We work with Magento Cloud with, a React storefront and put a CDN and security or PWA delivery in front of it. So we've got all these different mixed use cases that we're open to supporting any of your merchants' needs. Couple of quick announcements. I think these are very relevant in that market. For all of you that don't know, Webscale is now integrated with MageMojo, and our new brand is called Webscale Stratus. We're really excited about that. We made an announcement, I believe, sometime in November. We're working closely with the team. We think it's the best of breed, bringing Cloud Edge, PWA, CDN, and security onto the Stratus platform and sharing it with all our hundreds of customers worldwide. And we think that India is a great market for launching another region for Webscale Stratus. So Webscale Stratus exists today in the US, in Europe, and in APAC in Sydney. And we think India is a great location to add. So, I've wanted to bring a solution of this type to the India market, and we think Stratus is the perfect fit. So sometime in this quarter, we will launch our India region. And I think it'll really enable customers, who are just getting started online or want to grow online and, want an easy to use developer-friendly platform. I think Webscale Stratus will be a great solution. And of course, all Webscale plans are available worldwide already. Couple of links to announcements. Cloud Edge PWA went out today. I don't think you guys can click on my presentation, but when the presentation gets posted, you can see these links, or just go to our website and go to our press releases. I already shared with you, Webscale MageMojo is now called Webscale Stratus, and we're going to be in India soon, and I hope to be there in person to complete that launch. So that's kind of it from me. Love to answer any questions you may have. If you want to learn more, go to our website. We have a lot of really good information. On the personal front, I'm really enjoying working with the Magento Association. I think there's some interesting things that we're trying to do. Somebody once said, if you can't make a difference from the outside, then become a part of the solution. And that's truly what we're trying to do, is to invest our time and effort and leadership in making a difference. So we love Magento, our merchants love Magento. It's not perfect, it has challenges, but we think for companies that want true customization and really want to build a world-class brand, there is not another solution in the market that gives you the flexibility that Magento does. So we're big fans, and we work through everything that comes our way. So thank you all for your time, and reach out to me personally. I'm CEO at webscale.com, or send us an email at info@, and I look forward to meeting each and every one of you. I'll stop sharing my screen and answer any questions you might have.
Hey, Sonal. Thank you so much for your session. It was very interesting and quite interactive. I'm waiting for a question and answer. If someone has, we'll be waiting for a minute. If anyone has any questions regarding your session, then please share, and Sonal can answer it. Yeah. So we'll wait for a minute, and then we can close this session.
Sounds good. We give them some 5-10 minutes back so they can go, get a snack or go to the restroom or whatever is necessary.
Right, correct.
Yeah, I can, while we're waiting for people to type up questions, if they have any, I can talk about PWA, and some really interesting use cases are coming up. We're finding out, obviously, there's other companies that are trying to provide a delivery framework. From our point of view, the way that we think about it is we want to give merchants and our developer partners the freedom. So we're not saying you must use a certain framework. We're not, pushing in a certain direction. We actually have solutions we're working with the PWA providers, or, the software companies that are building these PWAs, and working with them to find easier ways to pre-integrate, so that, when we're working with a merchant and they're hosted on, or they're using Magento 2.x and they want to add a PWA to it, we can work with our partners to say, here's a really easy way to do it and deliver it from the edge. So, reach out to us, and I'm super excited about the possibilities for each and every one of us to benefit from it. Gaurav, I think there's one question.
Yeah, I sent you. It is from Subramaniam.
Have you ever done a comparison of site speeds across different platforms for roughly the same size catalog? Subramaniam, actually, we haven't done that per se. That sounds like an interesting exercise. What we have done is very early, I think in 2015 or 2016, we worked with Magento, the company, this is before they became Adobe, to figure out the best cloud provider for Magento workloads. And we concluded that AWS was a great place to do this. And from our point of view, our predictive auto scaling was just the most phenomenal way to scale Magento stores in any catalog size or any SKU count or any sale that a merchant wanted to do. So that we did do. We did a lot of studies and research with Magento at that point. Let's see. I would also like to know more about the diversity initiative, what we can do as a company to encourage diversity within the organization. That's actually, so it's a very interesting question that you asked, Subramaniam, and I think there's a couple of things that I wanted to mention. Diversity in the Magento Association. When I joined the community or the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, I honestly was not expecting as much attention and support from Magento Association, and we've become front and center for pretty much a lot of the big, the elections or making decisions on, what the makeup of different communities looks like. And because we look at everything, we as in the community or the association for D&I, look at everything from a different point of view. And we don't think of diversity as gender or color or, origin or race or things like that. We actually look at diversity as, merchants versus software companies versus hosting vendors. We look at diversity as in, is everybody from the US, or do we have people from the Ukraine, or do we have people from India? Do we have representation across every region? And then we obviously look at gender and race and all of those interesting things. And that's our focus on diversity, at least in the D&I group. Now, what we can do to encourage diversity. So I think within a company, it's important to be understanding of, different people's requirements. But at the end of the day, we're all running a business. So business always comes first. But encouraging diversity, I think, is just, if you have diversity, it's easier to encourage diversity. So from within the executive team, from within the locations, from just the conversations you have, it's a support system that you have to build to make sure that people, feel welcomed and feel liked and feel appreciated. And like I said, diversity is not just about, race and gender for me. It's more about different points of view. So in the US, we've got a strange world of diversity emerging, which is, people's political views or religious views or vaccine views or whatever you want to call them. I think all of that is diversity, and it contributes. Just, allowing open conversation without, impacting people's personal beliefs. I think having a safe space where people can talk about these things is really important. And yeah, I'd encourage all of us to look at diversity as beyond race and gender and color. Subramanian, did that help with what you were asking? I don't know if I was able to provide any more concrete view. And broadly for me, I always hire the best person for the job. I love to see diverse candidates, but if I don't, or if there are a few, it's always the best person for the job. So that's my personal point of view on those decisions.
Yes, Sonal, your answer was, I think, pretty okay. So I think Subramaniam got the answer regarding the questions he has asked. And
Okay.
if anyone else has any question, we still have 1 more minute left. We can include in this session, and then we can close this session.
Sounds good, Gaurav. I think we're out of questions, Gaurav.
Yeah, we have just a feedback from Subramaniam. Yes, it's interesting to hear it outside of gender, race, etc. Thanks for sharing.
course.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Subramaniam. And thank you so much, Sonal, for being here and for this excellent session with us. I'm just stopping this live stream, and good to see you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the time. See you
Thank
all.
you. Bye.
Bye.